guys, welcome back to Ronji Health Tips. This is your girl Ronji, and today I plan to talk about the benefits of keeping fit, the benefits of losing weight. I'm not going to talk about them today. Something happened and it gave me a whole new idea of something else to talk about. And so today we are going to talk about stress eating. I know that there's a lot of people who have tried to lose weight. There's a lot of people who have fallen off the healthy way of life. They've backslidden and gone back to their previous lifestyles, which one are not very healthy. And me being one of them, these are things that happen. And so let us go ahead and talk about the realities of life. Our life, the way God created us, everything is connected to the other thing. Our physical life is connected to our mental health. If we are not okay physically, mentally we are not going to be okay, and vice versa. If you are not okay mentally, physically, it's going not only to manifest, but it is going to affect our physical life. And so I've listed some of the things that lead us into stress eating. When you're reaching out for a food or a drink unnecessarily, you don't need it, your body doesn't need it, but your mind thinks it's the best way of coping with whatever issues that you're dealing with mentally or emotionally, okay? And so let's go right ahead and talk about them. But before we do so, if you're new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. This is your favorite channel that brings you good health content that could be useful either to you yourself or somebody you know, somebody you love. So tag them along, subscribe, and just keep it at Ronji Health Tips for more. Let's go ahead and see the list. Some of the things that lead us into stress eating. Number 1, death of a beloved one. Number 2, relationships. Number 3, sicknesses. Number 4, parenting. Number 5, economic constraints. That is just but a few that I thought of. If you know of any more, please share with us in the comment section. And so let us go step by step and see how these things affect our physical life and our mental life altogether. When you are going through a loss of a loved one, that is a devastating thing that can happen to any human being, and it affects you not only emotionally but even your physical. Your physical life is called into some strains due to the stress that comes with losing somebody that you love. And so with that, when you're going through that, it is hard to focus on what you are putting into your body. You're not even thinking about yourself at that time. It is a devastating time whereby you feel overwhelmed. And I'm happy I've talked with the therapist about this before. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and review some of the videos I've done about a loss. I know we were talking about infant loss, but part 2 of the segment, which I did with Maggie, she's a therapist, she's a marriage, sex, and relationships therapist. The part 2 of the segment that we did, talks about how you can cope with the loss and how you can go through the loss and, just deal with the entire episode of grief and how you can handle things when that time comes. It is one reality that we cannot live without. As long as we are still alive, we are going to go through those losses. And as unfortunate as they are, they affect our lives. They affect our mental lives. They affect our physical lives. And so go ahead and review the video. And so if you are a believer also, you can call upon God to, take you through the situation. It's not easy. My sympathies are with you. And sometimes people have fallen off their healthy lifestyles because of things like death of a beloved one. They affect you that much. And so go ahead and check out that video. Maggie really talked about how to go through it, and we'll be praying that God walks with you through the situation. Another thing that can really affect you and send you into stress eating is sicknesses. If you are sick yourself or if somebody close to you is sick, that can trigger something in your mind, and you might be tempted to go out to look for food unnecessarily just to try and cope with the situation. I've been there before. There's a time I was having very severe bad, what do we call them? UTIs. And one thing that I always went to was food. Whenever I felt uncomfortable within my body, One thing that I ran to was food, and that was, things like junk food, cakes, cheapo, and all that, only to come and realize later that my body is trying to respond to what I'm going through, which was sickness. And so that can trigger you eating unnecessarily. And so if you feel you are uncomfortable in any way, before you reach out to that mandazi, before you reach out to that pie, before you reach out to that piece of cake, check out to see how you are feeling. Check out with their body. And if it is something that is medical, reach out for help. If somebody close to you is sick, try to get them help, try to get them medication, and deal with it in a way that it could help the situation, because that extra food you are reaching out to, it is just going to comfort you at the moment. It is not going to be a permanent solution to what you are going through. Another thing that is triggering eating unnecessarily is relationships. We are all in relationships, and sometimes relationships can push you. They can push you to, things that you didn't know you will do for yourself. And sometimes you do these things unconsciously. You get affected, you quarrel with somebody you love, somebody you care about, you have a fight, and then it translates into emotionally unstable you. And so you might reach out for that food unnecessarily just because you are not okay mentally. Something is happening in your relationships and you're not okay with it. And so instead of reaching out to that food, check with yourself. Do self-therapy. When you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, what am I stressing about today? And is it worth it? If it is the relationship stressing you, reach out to people who can help. There are relationship experts out here. Other than reaching out to them, you can also, ask yourself hard questions. What am I adding into this relationship? What am I getting in return from this relationship? Why am I taking so much from it, and why is it draining me, and is it worth it? Do a self-check and just begin from there. Don't reach out for that food. Leave it alone. You don't need it at that time. You need to deal with what is stressing you. If it is a relationship, do something about it. Another thing that can really push you to the edge and send you eating all sorts of junk food is parenting. Hello? Parenting can really push you to the edge. When children come into the world, when they are infants, we get tired a lot physically, taking care of them, breastfeeding them, lacking enough sleep and all sorts of that. But as they grow, the weariness translates from physical to mental. You're worried about them being at school. You're worried that they're not, following up with the teachers' teachings. You're worried about a lot of things. You're worried about them being bullied at school. You are worried constantly about your little ones. If they fall sick, you are sick also. Am I making sense, moms? If your children fall sick, you are sick also. In fact, you are sicker than them. And such kind of things can really trigger you and send you into eating unnecessarily. And so, just a piece of advice, parenting is a blessing from God, yeah? And so just remember, you are a caretaker to these children whom God has given you. And so as you do your duties towards them, as you fulfill your responsibilities as a parent, just remember they are God's children. And anything that is beyond you, anything that you cannot handle as a parent, give it to God. Tell God, you are the one who has given me these children, and up to this moment, I cannot handle it any further, and so do it for me. And God will come in through for you, if you are a believer, okay? Another thing that is stressing us and that can send us into unnecessarily eating is the economic constraints. And it's everywhere. It's not just you. Everybody is going through this. If you're not going through this, please invite us. Any of the things I've mentioned, if you're not going, if you're not experiencing them, please invite us to the planet you're living in. We will joyfully come. I'll be the first one to lead the band coming into joining you. We go through stuff. Economically, things have gone from bad to worse. And we are feeling the constraints. And the needs remain the same. None of the needs have increased, but our income remains the same. And so you want to start to be creative about things. You want to look at what can you do. What can you do to handle the situation? If it's not easy today, it's not going to be easy tomorrow. And so you want to be creative in ways to try and supplement your financial incomes so that you meet your obligations as you go by. Don't let it put you down. Remember, you're not alone in this. So as you reach out to that mandazi that you don't need, as you reach out to that alcohol that you don't need, as you reach out to that junk, soda that your body does not need, remember, it's not a solution. It just offers a little comfort, very tiny piece of comfort for the situation you're going through, but it is not a permanent solution. And so stress eating is real. But instead of, wallowing in it, analyze your situation, talk to yourself, analyze the situation you're going through, ask yourself why you are in that situation in the first place, what you can do about it, and go ahead and do something about it so that you stay healthy, you eat consciously towards, good health, and you stay generally healthy and a happy person. We cannot avoid some of these things. As long as we are living in this world, we have to face them, but we can find a way of dealing with them, a way that will not affect our health, a way that is going to be beneficial to the thing we are trying to handle and to our health generally. Thank you so much for joining me. That was all for today. Again, subscribe, and share the content that blesses you the most. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Love you.